Hello, everybody. Welcome to All Hands on Tech Live, the first one of 2023. So we had a little break over the holidays. We were doing some Blazor component stuff that was really fun about 3 weeks ago, I believe. And so today I'm going to do a little bit of a continuation on that. We're going to build some more complex Blazor components today. It's going to be fun, and we're going to kind of continue on what we did before. So if you didn't see the last stream, it should be available on Twitch, I think, or it is available on youtube.com under the Pluralsight page. So we do store all of our live stuff that we do here on Twitch. We store that on YouTube, so you can go back to YouTube, search for All Hands on Tech Live. You'll find some of me and David's old streams on there, and we'll just I'll kind of go through what we did on the last stream, but for the most part, this is going to be a continuation of the last stream. So I'm going to do a quick tech check here, just make sure everything is great. That looks great. Getting the chat up here so that I can chat with you fine folks. That is one of the most fun parts of this stream a lot of times. And yeah, it looks like everything is up and going. So I'll bring the chat over here. And yeah, awesome. Oh, one more thing I forgot here. Jump into the Twitter studio. My apologies for this slight delay here. There we go. Okay, cool. So today we are broadcasting on Twitch. We're broadcasting on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. But all of our streams on Twitch. All the time. Twitch is where we put all the streams all the time. So if you really want to catch every single stream, the best way to do it is by following us on Twitch. And you can follow us on YouTube and get some of the older streams as we do those. So I'm going to just jump right in here. So here's what we did before. Now this one, it's even a little bit of a mystery to me. Let's see if I can remember what we did. Last time we did, we created a new custom component, and we use this counter. So we have this counter that comes every time you start a new Blazor app, Blazor WebAssembly or Blazor Server, either one, it will create this counter app. And so we made our own little counter button with a random number generator on it. And that was pretty cool, right? And so we explored some of the things like passing in parameters. So we have our start number here. We did passing parameters. We showed how to do code behind. So you could do a backing class on your Blazor components, which is kind of a best practices thing. There's really no difference other than for you, the developer, or other developers who may work on it in the future. I suspect a lot of Blazor developers out there, if they see your component, they're going to expect a backing class with that component instead of one big giant file. I mean, hopefully. So we completed this rando.razor. We made a button. We did this on click that calls a method. In our backing class, we have our backing class with these two parameters here. We generated the random number. It's kind of a cool little component. Today, I've thought about this a little bit. Here's the dynamic component. And what we did for the dynamic component in the last one is we just copied Microsoft's documentation, and we went in there to create a dynamic component according to Microsoft documentation. It worked great. This one, let's see if we can load that up again. And this one loaded components based on the original component. So we took a base component with a drop-down switch, and then it loads Razor components based on what you select. So here we have dynamic component. This is a Razor component that we're looking at here. It's called component example 1. Now when we select Rocket Lab, this loads up yet another component. So these are all loaded dynamically. Pretty cool stuff. And that one was available on the Microsoft website. But today we're going to just make some more complex components. What I'm going to do is create an employee list. So this is going to be a little bit of fun, just kind of creating a list of employees for our fake company that we have here. One of the very first things we'll do, of course, is create a page for it. And we can just take this counter and we can kind of use this as a reference. So when you're adding a Razor page, this is one of the things I've noticed. When you're adding, if you go in and add a Razor page, it will create a CSHTML file, kind of like error. And from everything I've been reading, we're not using CSHTML nearly as much for the extension. We're using Razor. And sometimes it's cleaner to just create a Razor component. So for this one, we're going to call it employee Razor. And then we're just going to go into our counter Razor. We'll take these things right here, these top things for our component. We'll leave the title there and just put in page. For this, we'll put /employee. We'll put in our employees. Yay. Now, I've kind of thought about how I'm going to do this. And I think rather than using actual data, we're just going to kind of mock up some data. And one of my favorite places to go to mock up data is mockaroo.com. So let's bring that up. Edge. I don't know why I don't have an edge icon pinned here, but let's just pin it to the taskbar. We'll put it in here. And we're going to go to mockaroo.com. So if you ever need to generate fake data, so you've probably seen, if you've read my articles on the All Hands on Tech blog or on jeremymorgan.com or any of those, I use all this information, and when you read it, it's not real email addresses. It's not real names or anything like that. I use Mockaroo a lot. And one of the best places I've used Mockaroo is for testing. When you're building unit tests, you can create just gobs of fake data to go on if you're doing, like just if you want to inject some fake data in there and you don't want to use that, or even creating a database. You can create your own mock database with this thing. The first time I used this, actually, I recreated our entire, so I was working for a company, it was before Pluralsight, and it wasn't a really complex schema, but I basically recreated the entire schema with Mockaroo data, and it was awesome. So I could basically connect to that database, do a bunch of tests. If I blow things up and explode it, it didn't even touch our staging server at that point. It was just a very, very mock server thing, and it was great. So for our customer list, let's create 50 customers. And we have first name, last name, email. We don't care about gender. We don't really care about IP address. We just want first, last name, email. Let's see what other kinds of fields we can add. You can add, see all these tons of fields? There's airport codes. Oh, that would have been useful for the unit tests on our METAR converter that we did a while back. Ha. So, just another tech check really quick just to make sure, because there's nobody in the chat. So every time I see nobody in the chat, I always worry that we're broadcasting to nowhere. It looks like, okay, we are live on Twitch and some other places. So that's good. It's great, in fact. So here we can, you can just generate all kinds of stuff. So I think, well, let's go to personal. Maybe we can find like, It's all the same company. Maybe we will find something like a position, possibly. LinkedIn skill could work. Title. No. Let's see. First name, company name, department. There we go. That's what we want. We want department as one of them. And if I remember right, on here we can do maybe it's personal. I think you can do like an avatar. There it is, random avatar. So that's something that we want. We want it to be 100 by 100. There we go. So for our mock data, we are using first name, last name, email, department, and avatar. Now we're ready to go. And we're going to open it. And it opened off over here to the side, but you'll have to take my word for it that it opened in Visual Studio Code. And let's put this, I'm going to use this thing called Nimble Text. This is another, so today I'm going to show you two new awesome tools that I've been using for years and years and years. Nimble Text is one of them that I use fairly frequently. So this is going to be our list here. We're going to pre-populate this. We're probably just going to put it into a list and make it seem like it's data, I guess you could say. So for our employees, we've got an employee class. Cool, awesome, great, right? And check something here really quick. Okay, so this will be a list of our employees. Let's just for now make sure that it's working. Press play here. There we go. And whoops. It is /employee. So there's our page, our employees page. We're going to put it on the side here because it's not generally going to open every time we want to open it. So we'll go into our nav menu and you can see how the nav menu is set up here. We have navigation items, home, counter, fetch data. Just going to create another one for employees. We're going to call it employees. Nav link, the href will be employee. Now we should be able to jump to that page anytime we want. That's how easy it is to create a side item. You can change the icon here. I believe they're favicons, maybe. Let me see, span class, yeah, OI plus. Let's see if we can find a cooler icon for that. So if you search for this, usually it'll go to Iconify, which is what I meant to say earlier was Iconify instead of favicons. But let's see, we'll just search employee. There we go. That does look like an employee. So I think if we're using Iconify, we should be able to just drop this in here. Employee line, employee solid. But I may have to download it. Let's see here. Actually, let's search OI. When we search for OI plus, open iconic, I plus. Does seem to be a different format here for the one that I found, so I want to make sure this isn't really that super important, but I notice here it's like OI plus instead of OI dash plus. So we'll see if it works. If we do clarity instead of OI plus, we're going to do employee dash solid. And that clarity might need to go here. I don't know. I haven't worked with Iconify icons in a long time. Looks like it's still doing the plus. So stop it, regenerate it. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this icon if I can't figure it out. Class. OI dash. Here we go. We'll just find one of these ones that looks like it's naming a person. Clipboard. There should be one that says person or something, right? Do we have a person? There we go. OI person. Now, I am not a CSS. Look at that. Great. I'm not a CSS design UI person at all. I would love to be. However, not so much. Oh, and I got to retweet my... There we go. Perfect. Okay, so we have employees with a exclamation point for some reason. So now we have our employee page. So what are we going to do? We're going to create a pretty complex component that shows the employee. Let's see, we'll have it show the first name, last name, department, email address, and their picture, their avatar. So to test this, we probably should create just one test employee. We'll kind of style it up, and then we'll maybe go in and make it into a service or something. But let's go into our code behind here. So we're going to close counter, close nav. We've got employee razor here, and then we're going to make a code behind for it, for our page. So employee.razor, we go in here, add new item, and this is just going to be a class, but the class has to be named appropriately. And this is what we covered in the last stream, is it needs to be named employee.razor.cs. Bam. Now all of a sudden we've got a code behind here. And the only thing you need to do after that is make this a partial. And now we have code behind for this component. So we should create here, we should create an employee class. Now here's something I'll show you that's pretty cool that Thindle, who is one of our regular viewers, who I don't see in here today, showed me this really cool thing about parsing to JSON. So let's take this Mockaroo data here. Let's make a JSON. Here we go. JSON. Download data. And we're just doing this. So we'll open it up. And we're just going to take this huge chunk of JSON here. And we're going to paste it as a class. Paste JSON as classes. Really, really cool. Boom. There we go. So, we've got our root object here. We've got the class. We're going to delete that. And we're just going to take all these fields, drop them into employee. Isn't that cool? I like this paste JSON as classes. I've been using it quite a bit lately. And so we could do a little changing of the names here. First name, let's say last name, email. We'll make it a little more C-sharpy. Avatar, ID, and then we'll make these nullable, just in case we do not have that data. Okay, and this is going to be our employee class. So we're going to use a list of employees. Employee Razor CS. Did I just overwrite? Oh, I did. So because this class is named employee, I probably shouldn't call them employees because we, yeah, so we're going to start all over again here. A little naming issue. Since I want to call our employees employee. So I'm going to delete this. And notice it deletes the code behind also. And I'm going to call this page employee list. So we're going to start another Razor component, but we're going to call this employee listing. That makes a little more sense. Employee listing. I'm going to copy this because we're going to create a code behind for it really quick. Where is it? Employee listing Razor. We're going to add new item. It's going to be a class. Razor.cs. There's our code behind. This will make things less confusing. I mean, you can name both of these things employee. I think it makes it confusing in the end. So for employee listing, we need a page. We just copied that out of counter, right? We copied these things since we want it to use components. This part can still be employee. That part's fine. We still want it to use Blazor components because we're going to add some components in there. We'll change our title to our employees. We'll change the heading to the same thing. Cool. We're good to go. And just doing the tech check again. Looks like we are, yeah. It looks like we've got quite a few people viewing. That's great. I love it. Thank you for all of you who are viewing this stream today. If you have any questions about anything I'm doing, feel free to jump right into the chat. And yeah, I will definitely answer all questions. Or you can go to our Discord. See the link there? Yeah, right there. You can chat with us on Discord. It's really cool, especially if you are, say, you are transitioning careers, right? Or you're trying to get ahead in your career, or you're trying to get a certification or something like that. That's a lot of what goes on in our Discord channel. There is a whole bunch of people asking questions about career paths, moving forward in their careers, and it's a bunch of really great people in there. It's awesome and fun. So we've got our partial class here. In here, we're going to put in a list of employees. And of course, it's not looking at that yet because I need to be including the data. Blazor test data. And then I need to create the data. So in here, again, we're going to create a class. It's going to be our employee class. And in here, I think I still have it in the Q, I think I can still paste as JSON. Nope. So let me jump in here really quick and copy. Now I can paste as JSON. Paste special, paste JSON as classes. And I'm just going to snag these properties. Cut. This probably isn't much faster in this case, since I have to go through and change the names and null all of these things. And I think that's what this error thing is probably saying. Oh, no, it's wanting me to null everything. Email, department, avatar, ID, and then we're going to null everything except, of course, the ID. It's an int. All right, back on track. This is our employee class. So in our employee listing, now we have a list of employee here. And we're just going to call it creatively our employee list. Yeah, this one should be nullable too. So what can we do here? We can do a show employees button or something here. I'm going to say public void show employees. We'll make a new list. We'll add a new employee. This employee will be, oh, and look at that. We've got all of our fields. So we're just going to create one employee for now. Avatar, first name. Actually, I want to do it in the order of the CSV that I have here. Actually, what we're going to do is we're just going to drop all of these employees into a list, and I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. So if I were to create a new employee, I would say var employee. Look at that. I've got the autocomplete going here. New employee. There we go. And I can see here in my Nimble text, let's see. There we go. So in my Nimble text, the first one is ID. So we're going to say ID equals $0. And I will show you why in a second we're doing this. This is a really cool tool for this. The next thing we can see, Megan Despro, it's the first name. So we're going to do first name. It's going to be $1. Last name, $2. And this will make sense in a minute. Department, $3, and then avatar. Oh, is there an email in there? I don't even see an email in there. Oh, email is back after the last name. Oops. So email, I believe it was. What did we call it here? Yep, email equals $3, comma, then department will be 4, avatar will be 5. 5. Perfect, right? So this is just adding, we'll do that, an employee. Now, because I put these $signs in here, it's not going to work, right? Well, I'll show you why I put that in there. We're going to cut this out of here. We're going to go back to Nimble text, paste it in. The way Nimble text works is really cool. So you just dump in a big CSV or JSON or whatever, kind of a line separated list. And I almost forgot I need quotes because these are strings. And what it will do is I will take all of these 50 values here, and it's going to generate some C# for me to create each of those employees. Nimble text saves you so much typing. You can do SQL statements with this thing. You can do code like this, and there we go. I don't know if I want that. There we go. And look at that. We've got our employee equals new employee over and over. Actually, I don't think that one will work, will it? Because we're declaring employee a million times. So clearly it's been a while since I've used this. Why don't we just put it into the list add? So instead of our employee, we'll just put new employee. And we'll do list add in front of that. So we'll do employee list add like this. Employee list add new employee. Don't know if I need that one or not. Let's jump back into Visual Studio. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. Now we have 50 employees that are going to be added to this list. Pretty wild, right? Let's go ahead and bring this back over here. Let's build this thing. Let's build solution. Perfect. So I'm going to create a button. It says show us our employees. Button, on click, right? On click, show employees. See a little squiggly under there, so this may not work. Think. Converting method group to show. Type object. Did you intend to invoke the method? Yes, I did. Let's go back to our previous page and see how we did that. So with counter, yeah, that's right. I have to, let's just copy that code over. I'll explain it here in a second. On click needs to also have, on click is what has the binding here, the at on click. There we go. I had my button code all mixed up, which is fine. Okay. Employees, click me. Instead of click me, we're going to say show employees. And we're going to show all of them. Why not? So, let's see. Check here really quick. Perfect. Just doing the tech check thing again. So we can remove this code because this code won't be executed. So on click, show employees. So we know that's going to call this class that's going to build up this huge employee list. Let's start displaying the stuff from that employee list in our Razor page. So we're going to do for each employee in employee list. Possible null reference. I see you. Oops. I don't know why it's trying to make page titles here. What is it? Oh yeah, dereference. That's fine. P. Employee dot first name. This should give us a list of all the first names in our employee list. And we'll check that null so it quits barking at me. Oh, it's not a good sign, right? Yeah, there we go. So our employee list is not working because I need to hit that button first. So I should have done the null check. It was trying to tell me if employee list maybe I don't need to put that in there. Is not null. Then we're going to for each it. Let's see. There we go. Show employees. There's our list. So what we need to do is create a card. Now I mentioned earlier that I am not a UI CSS expert designer person. In fact, I'm pretty terrible at it. But I can cobble things together. I think they're called cards. Yeah, bootstrap cards. So here's the card. We're just going to take that and we're going to stack them up. And this will be our little component here. So let's stop here. And I might have to do some rearranging because we're going to have 50 cards here. So yeah, I'm going to have to stack those. But it's pretty cool. So pretend we have data, right? Because that's what we did. We created some mock data. Pretend we have data. Now we're going to format that data. And one thing we can do here is put this here. And we'll just start with the card title being a first and last name. So it'll be employee, first name, space, employee, last name. Card text, we can put department and email address. Department equals. So once again, we are department first name. So once again, we are using Razor here to bind to this data. And this is the data binding in Razor is one of my favorite things about it because you don't have to know JavaScript. You don't have to know much at all. You don't have to be a designer because I'm not a designer. Yet I can have all of this data in here and make everything look great. For our source, we're going to do our avatar. So employee avatar. And we could say, for here, we can say email employee first name. Let's see what this looks like. Show employees. Awesome. Look at that. We've got avatars. We have names, email. I probably should have put a line break in there. So let's play around with this a little bit. Now, var employee list. See, this is another example of just the cool data binding stuff you can do. This is our employee list that we have here, and we're just spinning it up on there. Maybe we can, I apologize, I did not silence my phone. So maybe one of the things that we could do here is we could make this into a component. Maybe that would be fun, right? So card style, image top. For alt, we want to also use first name and last name. And then I think this card thing is complete. Show employees. There's our employees. Pretty cool, right? Let's take this and turn this into a component. So remember how we did these? We'll do add razor component. We're going to call this employee card.razor. And in our employee card, we have the same stuff. So for our code, we're going to add a property that is just, this property will be employee. Public employee. Oh, I need to include the data. That's right. So using Blazor test data. I cannot type today. Blazor test data. There we go. Public employee. Then that should, yep. Except we want this to be nullable and we want it to be uppercase. So I'm going to change this to our employee. And then I'll just go through all of these fields. Our employee, each one of these. I think this will work. I haven't actually tried this, so if it crashes and burns, we learn something. And this should be a parameter. So now we should be able to use this Blazor test. Oh, we need to do the same thing as before. We need to say if our employee is not null. Then we're going to display all this HTML. Otherwise, we won't. Because we don't want it to kick back an error. So now we've got a parameter here of employee. But now that I think about it, it may not, we're going to try it. It may not format into a class the way we'd like it to. But that's the whole point of this live streaming, right? Is we're going to learn. So now that we have this, we can go back to our employee listing.razor. Can we do an employee card? Yes, we can. Our employee is going to be employee. Looks like it works. Let's see. So much anxiety. Is it going to break? Boom, it's not. Ta-da! Yeah, so I wasn't 100% sure, as you probably noticed if you're watching. I wasn't 100% sure that was going to work exactly like I thought it would, but it did. So what we've done here is we took that card and we abstracted that out to employeecard.razor. We could have done a code behind, but as you can see, we have 2 lines of code, so I just decided to leave it in here in the Razor class. If it were something a little more complex, then maybe I'd make this a code behind. But right now, it's pretty simple. So what we've done is we've taken this and we've created our own component from it, so that all we're doing is passing that employee into the component. And that makes it a little more scalable, right? So if we're scaling out, we're doing more stuff, then that'd be pretty cool. So let's do a little styling on this thing. Let's see. How can I make these cards stack? And I apparently lost my bootstrap cards that I was looking at. So cards are little markup and styles, control and customization, body, text and links, images. I guess I could have chose something other than the very first one, right? But that's all right. List groups. Here's the kitchen sink. Actually, I kind of like the kitchen sink because we could do like name, department. Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing that we got. Header and footer, featured segment. That's what I was looking for. Using the grid, wrap cards and columns and rows as needed. So that's what I was looking for here. So if we do a div class row, let's see, employee listing at Razor. Close these 2 divs. I think, format that a little bit. I think this will put them all in one row. if I'm looking at it correctly. Show employees. Oh, no, didn't do that at all. So, let's see, div class column. Oh, I see it put in a column. So for each playlist, let's put this in a row. And then we'll need to put each one of these in their own column. Or, yeah, like this. And see what that looks like. Same thing. So even with their own column, we'll do row out here, so that we're not creating a row every single time. Class row, there should be a bunch of columns in there. That's what I was looking for, something a little more like that. Not exactly, but instead of a 6, make it a 2. That doesn't seem to do much. So, let's see. Div class 2, and actually we could put this in here we could put this into the employee card. And that's employee card raiser. It's doing a card style. We'll say div class, div. Perfecto. Let's see. Employees, show employees. Ah, see, that looks a little different, right? We clearly need to make it just a little wider. Go in here and say 4. Let it crunch all this stuff together. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. That's a little more like what I was trying to accomplish. So here's all of our 50 employees. So what would you like to see next? That's the question. So there are a few more things that we can do with Blazor components. I think some error checking, we could do a little more with dynamic components. There's quite a few things we could do here. If people are still interested in the Blazor stuff that I'm doing right now, I would love to dive in a little bit deeper into components, because components are just a huge part of what Razor is and what Razor does. It's just a huge part of it, and there's a lot of stuff to learn, and I would love to share this stuff with folks as you're watching, and it would be really fun. So one of the things I'm going to do here is we're going to go ahead and wrap this up, but just to go over it again, what we did was we created an employee class. We created a bunch of fake employees. Here, create an employee listing with a bunch of fake employees. Probably should put this into a service. Or we could work with some real data. That's another thing that we could do in a future one. We could work with we can actually connect a database. We'll connect SQL or SQLite or something. We'll get that wired in, and then we'll use an actual database. But we created this list for kind of a fake data thing, and then we formatted it and we put it into its own component here. So there's a lot of cool stuff that we could do with this. One of the things I'm going to do on Twitch, since we have a lot of viewers right now, is I'm going to find somebody to raid, and we're going to raid their channel, and then we're gonna close this down. So I want to thank everybody for watching. I didn't see a lot of chat, so I kept thinking maybe that things weren't broadcasting, but they are broadcasting. We've got a lot of viewers. We've got 11 on Twitch. We've got a bunch on Twitter. So I know a lot of you are viewing, and I appreciate it. If you have any questions, feel free to jump into the chat. And as always, remember to follow us on Twitch. We are always broadcasting on Twitch. And also, if you're watching this stream and you would like some of these cool stickers, send me a private message on Twitch or email me, jeremy-morgan@pluralsight.com, ping me in the Discord, something, and I'll give you some of these really cool stickers for your laptop. They're awesome stickers, and they're just cool. I've got them on my laptop, of course, even my personal laptop, because I like them. So, who are we going to raid? Let's jump onto Twitch really quick here. Let's see. Okay. So we're going to visit this channel. All right, let's see who's here. Live looks like. I do see Jason Langsdorff is streaming right now, but I don't know if he's actually going or he's just getting started. Doesn't look like he's still on. That would have been a cool one. So, gonna look for some more here. Coding Garden. Here's one we could do. And they are a member of Live Coders. So I'll bring up a quick plug for Live Coders. When I say Live Coders, what does that mean? I believe it's livecoders.dev. Oh, what is it? Yeah. So it's livecoders.dev, I believe. Twitch.tv to livecoders. Or livecoders.dev. There it is. So this is a group of people that are really cool that you should follow. I'm one of those people. I'm on the Live Coders team, but there are people way more fun and cool than I am. As you can see, their purpose is to support coders and developers and technologists on Twitch. So anyway, that's livecoders.dev. Check it out. We are going to raid one of the Live Coders right now. So we're going to go to Coding Garden. Thank you, everybody, for jumping into our live stream. Thank you all, and we'll see you next